You know we are.
Yo, yo, yo.
Yo, 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 guys, what's going on? Welcome to another week of the Weekly Call.
Weekly Call.
You know what it is. We're in the building again tonight, and we're so excited to have you guys with us on another Wednesday. If you're here with us, that means God ain't through with you yet. That's what it means. I ain't preaching to nobody.
No doubt.
I'm just reaching somebody. You know what I'm saying? Teaching somebody and leeching off of nobody. You know what I'm saying? It is what it is. Hey, once again, you're your boy. What you gonna say? What you gonna say? You gonna say something?
In one of his lifetimes.
One of my lifetimes I was leeching. But I was probably like the real deal leech. Like the little leech that crawled. I was probably that guy. Hey, once again, it's your boy Griffy, and you're hanging out with the beautiful Miss Wendy Windsor.
And you're watching.
What they watching?
The Weekly Call.
You know it. Y'all know what it is, and here's the deal.
Hey guys, hey.
If you're looking at the screen, you notice there's something different behind us because we almost have to start this thing.
I mean, it's a must.
Yeah, we almost have to start this thing the correct way.
For sure.
You know, it was a heck of a weekend. I was having such a great weekend.
Yeah.
And I was leaving my uncle's place. Mm-hmm. And I'm traveling down west side of town. Traveling down Harrison Avenue. Mm-hmm. And so I get a call from my son. Mm-hmm. And he's like, dude, something crazy happened. These are his exact words. He was like, man,
he's what, 13?
13. Dang. And, you know, he's like insanely into basketball. You know, he's on the team and they kicking butt.
Yeah.
And so he was like, dude, something crazy happened today. And I'm like, what? You know, because I'm thinking, because the last time he called me and said something crazy happened, there was a cat. Okay, so check this out. This is what's crazy. This was crazy. So there was a cat that was missing. So my kid's mom bought this cat, right? And so the cat just left. And they couldn't find the cat, so she decided, I'm going to go buy 2 more cats.
2 more.
2 more. And I was like, did you have to buy 2 more? It didn't make any sense.
Double the fun.
Right?
You got to double up.
Double up.
You heard Nipsey.
And so I go over to the house like the next day. Okay. So I go to the house the next week and, drop my son off that weekend. And I was like, it's going to blow y'all mind if this cat ends up reappearing.
Now y'all got 3.
Now you got 3.
Triple up.
And so, anyway, my son calls me about 3 or 4 days after that comment, and he's like, bro, guess what? Something crazy happened. And I'm like, what? He said, the other cat's been behind the washing machine.
That's what they
for
do.
the past 5 or 6 days.
What? Yeah, I had a cat.
Can't make this up.
I had a cat, and that cat hid in my basement.
Uh-huh.
Inside of a little hole in the wall that I did not know was there until we started looking for this cat, and had been in there for like 3 days. I mean, I'm like, are you eating? Are you pooping?
Well, the cat.
What you doing?
So I'm thinking my son was going to tell me they found maybe another cat. Like, it was just another cat that they didn't buy that just came out of nowhere. And he hit me. He said, man, something crazy happened. I'm like, what's up now, dude? And he said, man, Kobe Bryant died. Oh, man. Yeah. And so I'm like, I literally, this is no lie. I pull over on the side of the road. I was coming down that hill. Pull over on the side of the road and just like, I said to him, I was like, dude, is this fake news or because we hear all this stuff. Yeah. So I'm like, is this fake news?
Man,
and he's like,
it's just devastating.
He was like, no, dude, it's totally real. And I was like, dude, I gotta call you back.
Ain't that crazy? Yeah. Like when things like this happen, like you never forget where you were. What you was doing in that moment.
That's right.
It just hits you that hard where it's almost traumatic. Like, I mean,
it's very traumatic and
it's hard to talk about. Give me chills.
Well, it's like, man, I can remember Kobe's first game. I remember because at the time I was a huge Bulls fan. So I crossed over to the Lakers because of Kobe. And because I was a huge fan of Michael Jordan. And I can remember literally Michael being out there on the court with Kobe, and they'd be at the free throw line, and Jordan would be giving Kobe like pointers. And I always thought that was the coolest thing. So when Jordan retired, I became like a Lakers fan, and I was like, dude, I'm all Lakers now.
I think you and the whole world.
Yeah, I became a total Lakers fan, and it helped.
Over.
It also helped that Phil Jackson had left the Bulls, and then he had come to the Lakers a couple of years after that. But I was like total Kobe fan, you know. And so when this happened, man, it really, really hit me. And I'm like, what? Like, this has got to be fake news. Let it be fake news.
Yeah, man.
And it was insane. It was real news. And I feel like this touched so many people. His passing did.
I mean, this just transcended past, you know, race, religion, creed. I mean, whatever your status is. I mean, it touched. I think it just has touched so many people, and I hope that it really carries over, you know, into drawing us closer to each other.
Well, it definitely puts us
spreading this love
in the mind frame of you know, tell you just don't know. You know, and it's not about your age. It's not about whether or not you have any illnesses. It's just a matter of you just never know. So you got to tell the people that you love how much you love them every day.
And love what you do.
And love what you do.
And enjoy.
Yeah.
Man, live your best life.
Yeah.
I mean, after that, it's like I wanted to just release all my fears and you know I really wanted to live more it's really making me just want to live more carefree. It made me want to really spend time the way I want to spend my time. You know, it made me want to live my life the way I really want to live it, like no excuses. Do the stuff I've been wanting to do. You know, I would like to on behalf of all of us here at the Weekly Call, I'd like to dedicate this show, if it's okay. I'd like to dedicate this show to Kobe Bryant. I want to send, obviously, a heartfelt condolence out to his family. Because we have to keep in mind there's been a lot of light shine on Kobe Bryant, but there was also his daughter. Yes.
And there was also 7 more victims involved. So we want to send prayers out to all the victims' family, Kobe's family. This is the day after LeBron broke the record, so it's like crazy.
I mean, and he has sent. Oh my gosh, he sent that message.
His last tweet.
How many hours before? You know what I mean?
On the number 2. That's what he said. On the number 2, and just was the coolest dude in the world, man. And
can't say enough good things about Kobe.
I had seen a interview. I forget who it was with, but he had said that Kobe, when he was younger, before he had kids and before he was married, had said that he always wanted to die young. He said he wanted to die young, and because he wanted to be a legend. And I'm quite sure once you have kids and you're married, that mindset changes. Right. Because now at this point, obviously, he wanted to live for his kids. But and
speaking of that, I just had this crazy thought, you know, because it's so it's a big huge deal that, you know, he's gone, but his daughter is gone along with him.
Yeah.
And I just kept thinking to myself, like, I honestly feel like those two, I watched them in videos together and just their bond and relationship that they had. I almost feel like they couldn't live here on this earth without each other.
Yeah. Oh, ooh, nice.
I really feel.
I hear what you're saying.
I really feel that. I'm like, them two. I mean, it's so unfortunate, but I feel like they had to leave this earth together.
Ooh.
Like I just feel like they couldn't do it without. They was just that close. I mean, just from what I could see and what I felt watching them together.
People who saw her play, because she was in the AAU league, and apparently that's where they were going to, was to an AAU game. And but people that saw her play said she was just like a female version of Kobe. Her mannerisms, they said her mannerisms and her little play style.
Handshakes. Yeah. They was thick as thieves, man.
Yeah, so just totally unfortunate. And but what we did here at the Weekly Call is we did put together a tribute for Kobe, and I just feel like it's important to do that. So guys, here, if you I hope you guys enjoy this, and we'll be back right after this.
I used to think that I could not go on, that life was nothing but an awful song. But now I know the meaning of true love. I'm leaning on the everlasting arms. If I can see it, then I can do it. If I just believe it, then there's nothing to it.
So Kobe Bryant, the legendary NBA star, is dead tonight. His adorable 13-year-old daughter, Gianna, known as Gigi, also dead tonight.
I believe that I'm head sore. I see me running through that open door. I believe I can fly. I believe I can fly. I believe I can fly. 'Cause I believe in me. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh, if I can see, then I can do it. If I just believe it, there's nothing to it. I believe I can fly. I think about it every night and day and day and day. Spread my wings and fly away. I believe that I can soar. See me running through that open door. I believe I can fly. I could run, not feel weary. I could walk and never, 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 never fade. I can I'm gonna do it if I just spread my wings. I will
Wow.
Man,
Wow.
I
Whew. It's like hard. That was
I remember
hard to watch.
yeah, putting it together, man, I was sitting up here putting that together, and it was like, I was like, what song do I think is going to be appropriate to follow that stuff up? And it was an emotional moment putting that together, but I felt like we needed to do it, and just to, showcase, his legacy, man. I mean, the guy he is truly a legend, truly a legend.
Can I just say too,
Yeah.
just prayers and just condolences, strength. I pray that God just console, Kobe's family and the family of all these victims, like only He can.
Yeah.
Because this is just, honestly, this is just so hard to watch. It's like, that is just beyond pain. I don't know what those families are feeling right now, but it has to be a little beyond pain. And I don't even know what beyond pain is, but it just hurts me so bad. I couldn't imagine if, I was really on the other side of that. And I'm just grateful. It just makes me grateful. I'm just grateful.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. Well,
So much.
Well, I'll tell you what. Something very cool happened. I don't know if it was the night of or it was the night afterwards. But at the Grammys, there were quite a few artists that
Yep.
In fact, they dedicated the Grammys to that whole entire episode to Kobe Bryant.
Mm-hmm.
Wendy, you got a little bit more to say about that.
Yeah, that was awesome. It was beautiful. So I have a little bit on that. So according to BBC.com and the Washington Post, this is kind of where I got this information. The 2020 Grammys ceremony opened with a heartfelt tribute to Kobe. Tonight is for you, Kobe, declared pop star Lizzo, opening the show with her stirring ballad "'Cause I Love You," which is, Lizzo is doing her thing right now.
Lizzo is Lizzo.
Man,
Lizzo is Lizzo.
Lizzo is so dope, man.
Lizzo.
Shout out to Lizzo.
Yeah.
Oh, speaking of Lizzo, that Beyonce thing we mentioned last week, that's your lane, girl. Go ahead and get you some athletic wear. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, get them girls right. That's your lane. So host Alicia Keys then dedicated the show to Bryant's memory also with an a cappella version of "It's So Hard to Say Goodbye," accompanied by Boys and Men. Everybody know that song, one of my favorites. Alicia is also quoted as saying, "We're all feeling crazy sadness right now," as we are right now too.
Yeah.
She said, "As we're literally standing here heartbroken in the house that Kobe built." Yeah. Ironically, the Grammys took place at the Staples Center, where Bryant played his entire career with the LA Lakers. News of the star's death at the age of 41 stunned artists and performers backstage at the arena when it broke earlier in the day. I genuinely thought it wasn't real, said pop star Billie Eilish. I'm saying that right? I was in the green room and I was like, oh, that has to be fake.
Yeah.
We just wanted it to be fake.
Everybody did, yeah.
The star who grew up in Los Angeles added, everybody knew Kobe. Everybody. Is genuinely unbelievable.
Yeah. Wow.
It truly is unbelievable.
Wow. Well, I think on try to pick this thing up a little bit. On a lighter note, a little bit of a lighter note, check this out. Here's another cool thing that happened over the weekend. If you know me, anybody who knows me knows that I am a die-hard fan of the Call of Duty franchise. I'm like totally obsessed with it. You know what I'm saying?
My son too.
Oh, has he started to jump off into it?
He went through a phase. He kind of jumped on and jumped off and...
That's cool. Well, whatever. Hit me back. Hey, look, the new COD League kicked off over the weekend, and I was absolutely sure not to miss a single match. I watch every match. So I watch that like I watch the NBA and NFL. Oh, I'm serious business, man.
I was like, what?
Yeah, the new league is kicked off, dude. We in full field. The biggest rivalry was that of the Dallas Empire and the Chicago Huntsmen, in which the Chicago Huntsmen walked away with the win and had the full support of the Green Wall. That also includes myself. After the match, the Chicago Huntsmen let it be known how they felt about all that trash talk that they were receiving from the Dallas Empire leading up to their first ever match. And this is what it looked like, guys. Check it out.
4 seconds needed. Can Empire get in? Can they get a touch or will it in here? Nobody's going to get close enough. It's Chicago. Come in and dominate the response, and they are letting them know across the stage. Woo, those are some heated words right there, baby. Anyone that thinks maybe there was a little bit something extra in that match, take a look. Scump is so passionate and fired up right now, he about takes a nosedive on stage.
And check it out, guys. Earlier last week, I mean, it was turned up too. I was cussing at the TV too. I was like, but earlier last week, it was announced that Karl Anthony Towns and Michael B. Jordan had officially signed on as opponents in a little 2v2 gunfight known as the Hype Battle.
Smart move.
Oh yeah, so they signed on.
That's my boy too.
Partner with Towns was his Minnesota Timberwolves teammate Andrew Wiggins, while Jordan was partnered up with Vince stable. Good run, man. Good run. So what's happening? The cool thing about the league now is that it's gone all the way into like a really, really cool place, dude. It's now they've really moved into some.
What was that place they were playing at?
They were playing in Minnesota. I think it was called the Armory. It was the Armory in Minnesota. And dude, they got it's so many big. J-Lo owns she owns an esports team. I mean, well, wait a minute, no, but there's a whole lot. There's Gary Vaynerchuk is one of the co-owners of Minnesota. So Gary Vaynerchuk was out there all turned up, and there was a $25 million entrance fee to get into the league. Yeah, that was to get in. That was your $25 million. Yep, that was the franchise fee to get in. $25 million.
Less than that, the franchise would be top.
That's what. Oh well, and it costs a lot less than that to franchise a Steak and Shake. Obviously, a Steak and Shake now, if you want one, is $10,000.
Right.
Go get yourself a Steak and Shake. You look at $10,000 for just the franchise fee, but then probably another $300,000 in buying everything you need to do to stock that mug and your. But yeah, so it's $25 million to get into. And McDonald's is cheaper than that, dude. Yeah. So, but they are anticipating that. Check this out. Even somebody just told me that they're giving away scholarships for NBA 2K. Dude, no lie. Yeah, NBA 2K scholarships is where we are now.
Really?
Can't make that stuff up. Can't make that stuff up. Hey, look, when we come back, Win, let's go ahead. Tell them really, really quick. I'm gonna let you. We're gonna skip that story so we can get back and get a little bit of time in here. But tell them when we come back from the commercial break, who we gonna be talking to?
Yeah, we're gonna be talking to Gene Say, private pilot.
Right.
Yeah, he's gonna be joining us after the break. So stay tuned, guys.
Stay tuned with us, and. We got our man in the building with us again, but we're not going to show him until we get back. We ain't going to show Adrian until we get back. We'll be right back, guys. We'll be right back.
I used to come here with my dad to buy the latest pieces of clothing. I fell in love with a few shops that really helped my passion for clothing. It's funny, I didn't plan to be an Adidas collector. The first pair I ever bought was a pair of LA trainers. That was the start of the collection. I have about 6 pairs of handbags. I totally love them. I love the shape, the style of the shoe and the range of colours they come in. I love the fact there's so much variety within them, from the colour of the sole to the material. The style of my collection is a pair I bought my dad before he passed away. I planned the whole day together. I took him to Adidas on Oxford Street in London and reserved him a pair of Adidas Torrens for his 60th birthday. He was so surprised. Dad never did the whole trainer thing. He was from a different era. He loved them. I think he was chuffed that I had chosen them for him. For me, Scott's have been a great way to enhance my collection. Their customer service is excellent. They bring out the latest pair and delivery is quick.
I got into music from YouTube tutorials. I didn't think that was a job, it was just something I enjoyed. I realised that the process takes time to become me and translate my personality into my music. Being there to facilitate some of these musicians recrafting their sound is really, really important to me.
When I got here, the vibe was so nice. There's so much more to the inner workings of music.
There aren't that many female producers right now in the industry. Getting access to a studio is difficult, so I hope that the workshop can stimulate their interest.
When I'm working with the people we worked with today, it teaches me how to recraft some of my sound and my process.
My outlook has changed so much. It was opening my eyes in such a positive way. It's important to keep on working on your craft.
I hope that they've gained like a sense of independence. Carving out your sound is really important, and knowing who you are. You've got your own voice. I hope they leave thinking that.
To another level, y'all nigga trendsetters. Boss man, I develop. Big house with a safe in it. Had to put away the cheddar. Probably couldn't go to Yale, but y'all niggas still real clever. Forever, 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 yeah. I'm not afraid to fail. Maybe I'm
got to fly. Funny, I feel heights can push you to getting high. Money can buy your love, but it can get you by until they say goodbye. Yeah. I'm so used to waking up to someone new. I'm so used to breaking up.
Oh, well, the devil makes us sound, but we like it when we're spinning.
All right, y'all. We are back in full effect. And are we on the phone line? Are we good? Give us a quick check. Make sure we can hear you.
Yeah, we got Gene Say on the line. He is our private pilot tonight, taking our questions. Thank you so much, Gene.
You're welcome. My pleasure.
So also let's go on here, because I got to kick over to my man. He's totally in the building. There he is right there. That's Big Adrian. Adrian, holler at him, bro. Talk to him.
What's going on, everybody? How y'all doing tonight?
Maybe we should kick off with a couple of questions with you, with Gene.
Okay. Hey, Gene?
Yes, sir.
So being a pilot, you know, we heard about this being disoriented in the sky or due to fog or whatever. How true is that?
Well, it's the real deal. It's very true. It's called spatial disorientation. And it's the relationship, and paraphrasing, relationship of how you perceive what you see and what your inner ear is and your brain is perceiving. And when you get in a situation where you are in a condition of clouds and fog and you have no ground reference, spatial disorientation can be very serious and can be fatal at times. I don't know if you recall, I can't remember the year, but I'm sure you might remember the incident of young Kennedy Jr. was flying his airplane years ago. Yes. And they believe that's what happened to him. He was flying in what's called instrument meteorological conditions, and that's in the soup, as we call it, in the clouds, and he got disoriented. It could have been in VFR, which is visual flight reference. So, yeah, I've experienced it before, and it's not a good feeling.
So how do you handle that?
Well, you have to rely on your training. First of all, you have to rely on the cockpit instruments, and you have to rely on what you see outside. So being a visual flight reference pilot, VFR, I fly by looking out the window primarily. And I use the ground and topography as my reference.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's deep.
Wow. Yeah. Well, I got a question for you, Gene. You know, the sheriff's department nor the airport was allowing any flights out during the time of Kobe's incident. Is it? I mean, I'm just curious to know, and this is all speculation from your part, but I'm just curious to know. Do you have any idea why you think they were flying? I mean, if we knew that those weather conditions were so bad, because I saw an interview with the sheriff's department that said we weren't flying and nobody was flying at that time. And he questioned. He said, "So why were they?" You got any? Is that? I mean, I don't think that would be normal protocol, but I mean, is that? Does it happen? I mean, apparently it does, but.
Yeah. Well. By law enforcement coming out making that statement, it carries a lot of weight. So different organizations, different pilots have different protocols within the FAA regulations. So, for instance, and I'm not second guessing this pilot at all, because I was not there, and only going on, what we see in the news reports and what we hear. So visual flight reference, if you're flying visual flight reference, which he was at some point in time, then FAA standards say you have to have at least 3 miles visibility.
Okay.
That's for an airplane. That's for a guy like me. But it's even, if I'm not mistaken, for a helicopter, it can be a half mile to a mile, according to FAA standards. So you have to fact check on that, but that's my speculation. I know it's less than my my FAA standards. Now, if you're flying in VFR and you have at least, let me put it this way: if I'm flying in at least 3 miles flight visibility, which I will not, because I have a personal minimum of 5 miles visibility and 1,000 feet below the clouds. Now, if I'm taking off in an airport and I have the minimum, and then I fly into this instrument meteorological condition, and I need to land at that airport, then I need to request what's called a visual, or strike that what's called a special VFR. So a special VFR is simply requesting that I be able to operate and land or take off at that airport below the standard stated minimums.
Okay.
And hearing one of the news reports, I recall him asking for that. He was asking for special VFR and VFR flight following. So as soon as I heard that, coupled with the weather conditions, I knew he was in trouble. Things were just not working out well for him.
Wow.
Unbelievable.
And again, I say it's not the second guessing, but this man was a very experienced pilot. He was VFR rated and IFR rated. From what I understand, he was an instructor.
Yeah.
But sometimes we get caught up in situations where we got to get where we got to go.
Yeah. Yeah.
And we succumb to the obvious hazards. And I believe that's what happened to him.
Yeah. Let me ask you this: is it possible? And this could be the dumbest question in the world, but is it possible, in case of an emergency, to blindly land a helicopter? I mean, versus an airplane. I mean, because I was talking to a buddy of mine, and I'm like, dude, that is just because what they were saying that this thing circled. There were people on the ground. There were people down below that said that they heard it circling for about 12 minutes above, and there were at that time there were kids at a local or nearby skate park. Skateboard park or skate park, or whatever you call it. And there were some parents that would say they heard this thing circling. And I know the consequence, of, oh man, we don't want to land this thing somewhere and kill other people. But I just thought maybe if they were in the area where they crashed, I'm wondering if he ever, if maybe his mindset was there, well, maybe I'll get over some sort of a terrain. But then I'm also wondering if he can even see anything visually. Could you just bring the thing down? Or
and he was on the line with someone assisting him, right?
Yeah.
There was a video I watched. There was someone assisting him.
Well, from what I had seen in the video, they couldn't determine. They were saying that they couldn't see him on radar. He had literally flown out of the radar, so they couldn't find him. He was on his own at that point.
Because I was going to ask, did you feel like the people assisting him, did they tell him that he was too late, but they couldn't even see him?
They couldn't.
So I guess that's not
so
even a valid question.
Well, you bring up a lot of interesting points, okay? First of all, he's flying over a populated area.
Right.
And there are FAA rules about how low aircraft can fly over populated versus non-populated areas. I'm sure there's additional rules about helicopters landing in populated areas. So that rule does exist. Now, the reason why he was circling, I had looked at the pattern yesterday, and I assume, and I probably need to fact check this as well, but when an aircraft is circling in the vicinity of an airport, they're in what's called a holding pattern.
Okay.
And the purpose of that holding pattern is to give preference to other aircraft that have priority. So think about it. He's in California, and he's in an area, he's within a 30 nautical mile radius area where there's at least a dozen other airports to include LAX. The airport where he intended to land, Burbank, is a Class D airport, so there were probably other aircraft coming in, especially LAX, that was IFR, commercial airplanes. So they have preference, they have priority. So if I'm flying in an area, let's say I'm going to, which has happened before, I want to land at CBG, Cincinnati, Northern Kentucky Airport.
Yeah.
Well, they're going to give preference to the larger aircraft that are flying IFR than me. So they'll have me circle, or they'll have me hold, or they may not even respond at all. If they don't respond at all, that's telling me that I cannot enter that airspace until I get authorization. So that circling he was doing, he was in a holding pattern.
He was in a holding pattern.
And then the other point that you bring up is when he was asking for flight following, and they told him he was too low. So that means he was too low for the radar to pick him up.
Right. That's what they said. That's what they said.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then when he gets in those clouds and that fog, and by the time he realized it, I bet that happened so quick, he didn't even have time to react.
God.
Yeah. Real quick, just want to say to our listeners, and if you're just joining in, we are, in light of Kobe Bryant's recent passing, we are on the line with Gene Say, who has graciously taken our questions tonight, as just being giving us a pilot's perspective.
Yeah.
And I think Adrian had a question for Gene Say.
So,
yeah, go ahead, Adrian.
What chance did low fuel play in this?
Yeah, good question.
Was
low
that
fuel?
Yeah? Do you think that had anything, or was it? You think it was more him being disoriented?
I seriously doubt that. We don't know until the investigation is completed, but I doubt that, and this is the reason why I doubt it. There again, there are regulations that state how much fuel we have to have in reserve beyond our intended landing spot. So for me, for the organization that I fly for, I have to have an hour's worth of fuel in reserve.
Okay.
Still in those wings beyond my landing point. FAA standards, I believe, is 45 minutes for the type of aircraft that I fly, and it may be even 30 minutes for a helicopter.
Right.
Wow.
And here's the reason why I believe it wasn't a fuel issue, because I don't think a seasoned pilot being an instructor would jeopardize fuel like that. But he was only going approximately, I think, 40-something nautical miles from point A to point B. That was about a 20 or 30-minute trip at best.
Wow.
Wow. Unbelievable.
So, I don't think it was fuel. The weather was his nemesis on that day.
Okay.
I believe that fog rolled in, and
Man.
he maybe thought he can beat it.
Thought he could beat it. So that leads to this question for you, Gene. And we know you're we appreciate you going a little over the time in which you said that you had for us. Really, really do. And maybe we can get you back on the show again at some point.
Sure.
Would love to talk to you again, because I know that this is going to be something. This is a developing story, and I think where we're going to be here shortly is once everybody gets past all the grief, people are going to start having questions. And so I know that this is going to be an ongoing investigation. So we'd love to be able to have you back and talk
Griff,
to
I tell you this, man, before you ask your other question, is I believe, being a professional trainer as well, and other occupations, is that this is just me now.
Okay.
All accidents are preventable. Because there's elements that lead up to the Big Bang. It's not just one thing that caused this. There's a number of things, and when all these things add up, then you have that accident.
And I was just getting ready to ask you. It's so funny that you made that statement, because I was going to ask you if you felt that this was something that could have been prevented. That was my final question. Jesus.
Yeah, and that's not being dogmatic, derogatory, second guessing this pilot, but this is an accident that could have been prevented.
That's the way I feel, and
so unfortunate.
To me, Gene, that's what makes it so tragic.
Yeah.
Right.
You know, because I just feel like that's the way I felt about it. I just felt like, once again, when the sheriff, I know what you meant when you said that if the sheriff's department made that comment, then that holds a lot of weight, because if they're not flying, why the heck would I? And it was similar with. It's so funny that you mentioned the John F. K. Jr. scenario. It was under very similar circumstances. A very similar, not a weather condition circumstance, but even with the Aaliyah flight that took place, that was something that could have been prevented. Apparently, it was a little overweight. They wanted to take an extra few bags that they were recommended not to take. I have a good buddy named Steven who works for an airline, and he and those planes can't even leave the ground without him approving the weight, and I mean, there's a lot of
many factors.
So many factors that go into it.
Yeah.
Right.
Man.
That's why all that is in place.
People who argue with the airlines when they bring their bags on plane. There's a reason why we have weight and balance, and we're probably thinking about the same Steve. If it is, I do know a Steve, and he was one of my trainers. So Steve holds a lot of weight in what he says, because that's what he does professionally.
Fly
the major airline.
Wow. Anything else? Anybody else?
I had one quick question, if that's okay.
Go right ahead.
Okay. I'm a statistics girl. I want to know, do you know about how many, because people are always saying it's safer to, be in a plane than in a car. And that there's more car accidents. People die by, car accidents every day more than being on planes and helicopters. Do you know the statistics off the top of your head, like how many pass from riding in a helicopter or an airplane?
No, I can't give you an exact. I can give you one latest statistic that I had read some time ago, and it was from 2005 to 2014. There were a total of approximately 290 weather-related aviation accidents.
Okay.
And within that time period, 246 were fatal.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's still got to be less than cars.
Less than cars. So
For sure.
automobile accidents overwhelmingly exceed, because there are more automobiles on the highways than there are planes in the sky.
And it sounds like a lot of this is, weather related.
Yeah.
It sounds like that's a huge
pilots
factor.
that died and passengers, it was weather related.
Yeah.
Wow.
So, so.
Well, Gene, for the sake of time, for your time and the time of the podcast, I'm going to ask you if you would be willing to come back again, because I just really think that this is going to be a reoccurring story for quite a while until they can figure some of this stuff out.
It is. There are a lot of takeaways from this accident, not only aviation related, but family, spiritual, other occupations, all kinds of
it's a lot of layers to it,
people. Yes. So yes, I'd be more than happy to come back. You just
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much,
We really
Gene.
appreciate you.
God bless you, brother. We appreciate you coming on, and I'm pretty sure Adrian's got a little something he want to say to you.
Well, you already know. You know I esteem you higher than just about anybody in this city. You probably should be Mr. Cincinnati. Thanks for taking the call. I appreciate it.
Oh, yes, sir. You're welcome. All right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Good night.
Good night,
Good night,
Gene.
Gene.
Thank you,
Thanks.
Gene.
You're welcome.
Well, guys, man, what a wow.
Heavy stuff.
And for me, it's been for me, man, is that it's like this just the roughest part of it is it just could have been prevented.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? That's the part that just hit me right from the beginning. It was like, just this whole thing could have been prevented.
But check this out.
Yep.
This is my takeaway.
Yep.
Kobe was able to live out his calling.
Yeah. Absolutely.
He was able to walk in his destiny.
Absolutely.
And if you're not doing what you're supposed to do, you never know.
Yeah.
That's right.
You never know.
Yeah.
That's right.
So learn from that, from his lifestyle.
Man.
Yeah.
Man.
Yeah.
I someone told me this before, and it stuck with me. It's so much talent, so many dreams, so many creators in their grave.
Yeah.
That never seen it.
Yeah.
It never
That's
came
true.
to fruition.
That's true.
We never seen it.
Yeah.
So that's a great takeaway.
Yeah.
He did. He lived the life he wanted to live.
He did. And he was a great family man. Anybody that talks to him says if you could have just seen him with his family.
Yeah.
People who knew him said that if you could have just seen his family, great. I mean, he did what he was supposed to do, I believe. And
for sure.
and so from a physical standpoint, keep that.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes, this thing could have been prevented, but from a spiritual standpoint, it was just his time and everybody's time on that chopper. So, at the end of the day, we God has got it figured out. We're just trying to get some answers,
Something that I didn't know about Kobe is that he spoke 7 languages.
Really?
Wow.
That dude was a freaking genius.
Yeah, I'm still trying to figure
Love
English
that.
out.
Right.
Still trying to get English
You know
together.
what I'm saying?
That's sweet. I had no idea about
so if you
that.
go and watch some of his interviews, there was one where he was talking to a guy who was speaking Chinese. And there were several people speaking these different languages. I mean, and he was answering their questions fluidly in these other languages.
How cool is that?
I was blown away. I was like, man, he was that dude. Like
Wow.
he was the man.
Wow.
Very just a beautiful mind, intelligent man. He was more than basketball.
Yeah.
For sure.
That's sweet. Well, I think we're gonna go ahead and call it a night on for tonight. And Adrian, once again, man, appreciate you coming.
Thank you.
And that's your good friend, Gene.
Mentor. I've known him for just about every day of my life. He watched me grow up as a
Oh, is that right?
Yeah.
Okay.
We go
Okay.
way back.
Well, Gene, we appreciate you having Gene. Well, Adrian, we appreciate you having Gene on the show, man. And it's a great thing, dude, to be able to have once again professionals and experts in their field.
Yeah.
And especially at this time, man, because I was saying to you on the phone earlier today, I was like, dude, I've had so many questions over the past couple of days. I was sitting on the phone with my buddy JT, and he and I were just going back and forth, and neither one of us know anything about any kind of aviation other than the Wright brothers started their thing up in Dayton. And I'm like, dude, I'm like, man, I got all these questions, and and when you called today, I was like, hey, man, Gene said he'll do a call with us. I'm like, oh, that's great.
Yeah, he was so knowledgeable.
And he answered so many questions without even us.
Yeah, so I was like,
absolutely.
He answered my questions. I ain't had.
And it was what's crazy also was like, dude, there's no way we can ask this man enough questions.
Right.
You said to me earlier, he was like, dude, when he gets to talking, it's a lot of technical stuff, but he makes it entertaining. And we're like what? Yeah, and I was totally like, if we had the time, I'd have sat here with him for another 3 hours.
He was practical.
He's a great. He teaches, instructs, different things. He's a beast. When I say I model a lot of my stuff after him.
Yeah. That's what's up, man.
He's man.
He's the man.
I wanted to just say real quick, we did have a few people comment tonight, and I just want to acknowledge them. So Stephen Berry said, "Hey, I'm here."
Okay.
What's
Big
up,
Steve?
EMB 514. This was while we were while Gene was taking questions. He said facts, yes, and he puts conspiracy with a question mark.
I see that. Okay.
All right.
Okay.
So, hey, EMB 514. Appreciate the comment.
Steve, thanks for hanging out, big man. Listen, guys, we appreciate you tuning in. Generally, we're a lot more amped up on this show, but this was just, man, it's just been a rough weekend for everybody, man, and it was definitely a national, and I even want to dare to say international tragedy for sure.
I'm gonna go ahead and say it.
Yeah.
This is an international.
Yeah. Well, you guys know where we are every Wednesday evening, 8 o'clock. Start a little late tonight, but here's why. Not because of anybody here, but because we had to get that phone thing right. We definitely wanted to make sure that you guys could hear Gene, and we're definitely going to have Gene back. You heard him say that he would come back, so we appreciate that. Yeah, and while we're here, why don't you give them a little bit of insight on how they can follow us and all that fun stuff?
So follow us on our YouTube channel at The Weekly Call. Okay, like this video along with our other videos, subscribe to the channel, turn on those notifications, and join us right here every Wednesday night at 8 p.m. Also, check out our website, www.theweeklycall.com. TWC, baby.
You know what it is.
Join us.
Check it out. Also, if you want to join our text messaging list, our text message list. Did you get me some of your stuff today, Adrian? Did you get me some of those?
Man,
that's okay.
What happened was.
And look, first of all, Wendy's sitting there laughing at you. She ain't added to the list yet either. She ain't got nobody on the list. She ain't got nobody on the list yet.
I'm getting to it.
She getting it together.
But y'all get y'all list together, though.
Get your list together. Hey, listen, if you want to join the list we're talking about, the text call, CALL to 818-392-8848. Once again, text what?
818.
No, not text 818. What? Text what? Call to 818.
Yes.
To 818.
To 818.
392.
8848.
That's how you join our text messaging list. If you want to join our email list, just simply go to www.theweeklycall.com, scroll down to the bottom of the page, and just join our email list right there. Press, I think, the subscribe button, and you will be on our email list.
Coolest website ever.
Sweet. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. No. I'm just saying thanks. I appreciate it, because the Weekly Call is bigger than myself, bigger than you, bigger than all of us. It's about bringing you guys the information that you guys need.
You did that.
Okay.
You did that.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But you know how it is. As Leos, we're pretty modest people. We don't care about all that hype. You know what I'm
Just do what you're supposed to do and keep it moving.
Do what we're supposed to do and keep it moving. You know what I'm saying? But listen, on behalf of all of us, Adrian, anything else you just want to say to the people before we get up out of here, bro?
I do. Be on the lookout for my podcast. Coming up pretty soon. When we'll be talking about things like figuring out what you're supposed to do, how to figure it out, and a lot of cool things.
Motivational stuff, positive energy.
How to get it together, and it'll be pretty cool. Some good stuff.
That's great.
Upgrade you a little bit.
Because
that's great.
As a man thinking, so is he.
Ooh, okay.
Yeah,
so
get your mind right.
You took us there. You took us there.
Right there.
All right. So listen, guys. Thanks again for hanging out with us. We appreciate it. Hope you got some value from this particular episode. Gene will be back in the building. Wendy is always with us. And her hair looks amazing tonight.
It does.
Adrian, I love it. Adrian is Adrian, even though he's got his own podcast that's going to be launching here, he will still be sitting there with us here at the Weekly Call, because we love Adrian.
We love having Adrian. He became my boy.
Yeah, Adrian is super. Adrian is super cool, man.
He's got a wealth of knowledge.
That's right. So look here. God bless you all. Thanks for joining us again. We are just focused solely on bringing you guys the hottest topics, the hottest what's trending, all of that fun stuff. And we hope to see you guys again. We're going to do a little something different tonight. Generally, we take you out with our intro one more time, just so you can see me and Wendy just standing next to the Ferris wheel. But tonight, I think we take them back out with the Kobe tribute one more time, just in case you missed it. Is that cool?
Yeah.
All right. God bless you guys.
God bless you guys.
See you next week, guys.
I used to think that I could not go on, that life was nothing but an awful song. But now I know the meaning of true love. I'm leaning on the everlasting arms. If I can see it, then I can do it. If I just believe it, then there's nothing to it. I believe.
So Kobe Bryant, the legendary NBA star, is dead tonight. His adorable 13-year-old daughter, Gianna, known as GJ, also dead tonight.